Quite a year for Amobee, quite a year for Videology. So I am actually, and have just begun working for Amobee, looking after all of our corporate development activities, so business development, M&A, large-scale partnerships, as well as overseeing our sell-side tech licensing. So for customers like ITV or Fox or Univision, customers around the world, predominantly broadcasters who are looking for technology to step into kind of convergent TV and video.
And obviously the ad tech space is a very acquisitive space. Why? What are people trying to do? I mean, pretty much every major player in the ad tech world has been on a buying spree at some point. What's your sense of that? Why that's the case?
Well, I think in the case of some of the purchasers, it's a defensive strategy, and it's a fear of some large, well-known, very well-capitalized competitors in the form of Google and Facebook and Amazon stepping into what they view as the traditional TV business and upending the value chain. So I think you've seen quite a few examples of that. I think there's also a decent amount of opportunistic M&A that goes on in the market, especially at this time where funding's become more challenging for startups. You definitely see people who are stepping in and trying to take assets off the table where perhaps a year or 2 years ago they wouldn't have been able to afford them.
Now you mentioned ITV earlier on. Give us an update. What's going on?
Yeah, ITV is an incredibly cool customer for us. ITV, we completed a deal about 3 months ago with ITV to give them an exclusive license to our technology in the UK market. ITV had been involved with Amobee and with Videology for about a year and was really keen off the back of their new CEO, Carolyn McCall, and some really great work by Kelly Williams and Steve Bignell, a bunch of the guys in the UK, to basically take a much more proactive stance in terms of how they were going to operate in the programmatic and in the kind of converged digital and TV space. And I think they realized that technologically they were going to be relying upon third-party vendors, and it was such a critical thing, not only to their future, but their future in terms of their share, that it was important for them to actually take some ownership and control. So the relationship is one, it's incredibly close. We are working with them very closely to develop what will be their stack. And in many ways, what they're helping us develop is helping to inform what we are pushing out around the world. It's quite a cherished position for us because we have a customer in the form of ITV who, in their market and across the region of Europe is considered to be probably one of the largest, most progressive players. And to have them in many ways kind of holding our hand, guiding us on some of the more interesting product development aspects makes it much less guesswork and makes it feel like we're actually going out into the market in other regions with a lot of confidence about what's coming.
So the other thing we spoke a little bit about is Europe. Obviously it's a complex, fragmented patchwork quilt, lots of broadcasters doing very different things. You've obviously spent a lot of time looking at that space and at what's happening in the landscape. How do you describe it today? As Amobee looks at Europe, is this an attractive market ripe with opportunity, or actually is it a very challenging space?
Bit of both, as they always are. But no, I think we see it as a really interesting opportunity. I mean, our business as Amobee is, globally, we really look at the world through the lens of the top 10 TV markets. So it's the US, it's Canada, it's Australia, it's Japan, and then when you get to Europe, you're really talking about the E5, and then deciding whether certain ones of those markets are predisposed for external technology businesses. So we look at it and we say the UK is great, but markets like Italy, markets like Germany, France are hard to ignore. With broadcasters going through many of the same dynamics that an ITV or a Fox is going through in their markets. So I think where we're looking at it is saying, hey, what are the opportunities for broadcasters to, in many ways, take an aggressive, proactive stance the way we've seen other people like an ITV or a Fox take in their respective markets.
So one response to fragmentation, in Europe at least, has been for broadcasters to pursue what seems like an ever-proliferating range of alliances, partnerships, joint ventures, and so on. Do you expect to see many more of these activities? Is there a big need for standardization and collaboration?
I do, and I think I do expect that to happen more. And from what we hear in the market, a lot of those discussions are progressing quite a bit, and I think we'll anticipate seeing quite a few more in months to come. I would say it is about standardization. It is about common identities and things like that. But I think there also is kind of the old, my enemy's enemy is my friend comment. And I think the collaboration of these groups is driven as much in many ways by the fear of the incursion of people like Google or Facebook or Amazon as it is by a desire to have standardization.
So the other big theme we're hearing a lot about at Cannes this year is the unbelievable growth of smart TVs and connected devices really driving very new forms of consumption. How do you see that playing out for broadcasters in the next few years? Obviously I know Videology has always worked in and around that market.
Yeah. I mean, it is one of the hugest driving factors of why they are adopting technologies. I mean, I think there was just a general vision that the traditional linear television model would hold up much longer than it did, and I think like many things, it's reached that point where the curve is accelerated, and they're starting to see through the adoption of connected televisions that the IP distribution of linear television is sort of at scale and taking over everything else. So you have the choice if you're a broadcaster to say I'm going to continue to engage in that market the way I have for the last 50 years. Or I can, look at ways to handle this in a much more automated fashion. And I think that's, the answer is it not only is a reaction to things they have to work with that are very different, but it's also the opportunity they see in it to actually bring premium services and premium products to the market that wouldn't have been possible in kind of the traditional linear fashion.
And I know you're always a great optimist about the prospects for the TV industry. As we peer into the 2020s, give us a sense of some of the themes that you think are going to become more important for the industry as we double down on where we've got to today.
Yeah, I mean, I am, about the TV business in general, I've always been quite optimistic, and I think TV will, without question, continue to be, an anchoring position on media plans for major advertisers and the plans that major sellers of media sell. So as we look forward, I continue to see it working as that anchor because it is, as someone said, I think in an earlier interview, one of the, if not the best reach mechanism ever created, and is a reason why it's been so fundamental to so many companies' development and growth over the years. And by that I mean advertisers, businesses. For me, as I look forward, I'd have to see identity being a critical component, and that's not necessarily trying to be the most granular of identity holders and users, but it's actually getting better about how identity is used and applied in television. There's something like only 8% of television today is truly data enabled and enhanced in some fashion. The notion that you can actually move beyond the traditional panel-based rating systems into something which is more targeted, more driven by identity, just has so many great opportunities for marketers, from brand marketers at the top of the funnel to the most kind of bottom of the funnel performance marketing. It just opens up avenues, quite frankly, to new spending categories that the TV guys have lost, like direct marketing and in-store sponsorship.
A final quick thought from you. What do you see as the biggest challenge that, as an industry, we still haven't quite solved? If there's something we need to really crack in the 2020s, what would you be pointing at?
2020s. I mean, I think there needs to be at-scale solutions, and that's I think there is. And I think to hear some of your other questions about kind of M&A, I think that's what's happening now is you're starting to see consolidation. And I think that will be one of the things. That is going to be a critical component because especially television is a scale play. And the notion that you have at-scale solutions from the sellers and actually that the buyers are also bringing to the table themselves so that they can participate and trade in the way that they've historically done, which is in tens and hundreds of millions of dollars, not in hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's going to be a big part, and it just doesn't work unless you have scale.